Hi, I'm Dr. Rachel Newrick. Welcome to the Advanced Seismic Interpretation online course, starting at the end of September. It's my privilege to be leading you through the course material, not just a simple transfer of knowledge while you passively watch the slides, struggling at times to keep your eyes open, wondering how much you're going to be able to absorb. But by calling on your active participation, your curiosity, your inquisitiveness, your desire to take on new ideas, but also to apply them to the exploration challenges that you, your companies, your team, everyone in your exploration environment currently face. We are in this together. So every session that we take will have an associated 2 to 5 minute pre-session video accompanied by a task or a challenge so that you are best prepared to participate in this class. So I'm going to take a minute to talk about so-called advanced seismic interpretation. A few years ago, after successfully teaching Introduction to Seismic Interpretation and also Alistair Brown's Interpretation of Three-Dimensional Seismic Data, I was asked for a follow-up course for participants who had more experience within the industry. And I struggled with this, since it wasn't supposed to be a specialist course. There's plenty of those out there for you to take. But it was for the general interpreter to be able to have a deeper experience or understanding of what seismic can bring to the exploration effort. But what did advanced actually mean? Did it mean we look at more advanced technologies such as pre-stack technologies? Did we look for a deeper understanding in the interpretation process? Did we just want to broaden our interaction with other EMP disciplines? Seriously, I didn't know. I struggled. So I started researching education, learning, and advanced geophysical techniques, and I had a spark while I was looking at Bloom's taxonomy. That's the triangle that you see here. Sometimes you'll hear it called a pyramid, but I want to let you know it's not a pyramid, it's a triangle. Introductory courses focus on the lower levels, remembering, understanding the knowledge base that we all have. And even so-called advanced knowledge sits at the base of the triangle. My feeling is that for an advanced interpretation course, we are going to be working at the higher levels of the triangle. That is, analyzing, evaluating, even creating. So there's going to be a lot of discussion, and you are going to be asked to contribute your own knowledge, your own expertise to the class. We only grow when we push our boundaries. Now I want to bring something to your attention right before we start the class. And one thing that is going to help your retention of the class material is if you can relate anything you learn to something you already know, something that you're familiar with. Have you ever noticed that when you're introduced to someone, if you know someone with that same name, it's much easier for you to form some type of neural pathway between the two people, something they have in common as well as their common name. If you don't know anyone with that name and you've never heard that name before, it is really hard to remember it. It's not impossible, just more difficult. So it's the same with geoscience or anything we're learning. When I'm listening to a new idea or technique, I try and relate it to my own experience, a seismic that I'm familiar with, things that I've interpreted before. So if someone shows me a new seismic attribute, I wonder how that would have worked in West Greenland, or would that have been applicable to the Canadian foothills or the shale gas project I once worked on? But it makes it stick in my head, gives me another neural network pathway to form that bond. So your first task, before we've even started the class, is to find a couple of seismic lines. So you're going to annotate them as we move through the course. Now you're not going to be annotating any specific ideas or notes that I give you, not necessarily, but just those sparks that flash within your mind as we work through the material. You'll benefit most if you have seismic from a current project or an area that your company is currently working. Don't be concerned about confidentiality, these aren't going to be shared with anyone. It's just for you to take notes and try and make connections that you wouldn't have necessarily within the class. We've also provided a PDF of some open source seismic if you'd like to have a look at that and use some of that instead. But your job is to pick 1, 2, 3 seismic sections that you're just going to annotate on throughout the course. So now that you have your seismic in hand and an open mind, turn on your video camera, unmute your microphone and say hi to the group on Monday morning or afternoon, depending on where you are in the world. I look forward to meeting you all.